I guess my only concern, and I'd certainly go with the direction of Dr. Metzler, is what salary information do we get out, and therefore anybody, if it's released, anybody can glean everybody's merit review. So I'll do whatever I'm directed, but, there are some personal exposures there, I think.
I'll go with Jay. Peter.
I don't know if you're asking for the review or just the amounts?
No, it was, I thought the relevant discussion was more not
Salaries.
just
and-
how much money are we going to
Exactly.
allocate to the SAU for merit increases, not individual salaries.
Yeah.
And therefore, you couldn't back out performance review from that data. The individual employees are already under contract for a certain salary.
Uh-huh.
What that is irrelevant for the purposes of this discussion. It's more, what are we allocating for raises for these 13 employees?
All right. In order to do the merit increase and find out your information, don't you have to know how much they're getting first, the salary?
No, I think it's more of a philosophical discussion
Oh.
between us and
Okay.
Dr. Metzler saying, do you want a 3% merit pool? Do you want a
Okay.
certain percentage? That's how we've done it in the past, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, Dr. Metzler, but I believe you've reflected what you would like in this year's budget based on what you've proposed tonight.
That is correct.
Okay, I wasn't following.
Oh, and so
I didn't get where you were going.
I'm sorry. I think that's the more relevant
Okay.
discussion is,
Uh-huh.
what is that pool of money? I don't care how he dispenses it.
Uh-huh,
That's his job, not ours.
right. Okay, I didn't know where you were
But
going.
we should give him that bucket of money and let him distribute it amongst the other employees. We go?
Yes, if you're done.
I'm done
Okay.
for now.
So, and actually, even making the statements a little bit, putting the cart before the horse, because there is no motion on the table. But two things. On the professional associations that folks belong to and how much that costs, I believe, at least in some cases, probably all, that's written into the contract.
Yes.
So
correct.
that's not anything that we can affect. So that's a moot point. And as far as the salaries go, the present salaries are written into the contract, and that's not something we can affect. So another moot point. So I come down to Mr. Hoppe's side on talking about the merit pool as a whole, perhaps, but individual salaries, I have no need to know. And who belongs to what organization, I have no need to know. It is not actionable.
Ms. Green?
I would like to know what people in the SAU are making, because maybe they're making plenty and they don't need an increase. I mean, frankly, we're looking at a 6% budget increase, and, Mrs. Steenson asked how many man-hours it would take the SAU to give us some fundamental information, but the budget is going up by $87,000. How many man-hours of our taxpayers does it take to come up with $87,000? That is what we should be thinking about.
Actually, not much.
So, as for whether or not information is actionable, I think knowing what individuals make at the SAU and judging whether it's a reasonable salary and whether it actually should have a raise, I think is actionable information. It's certainly actionable to me.
Mr. Buell?
That's in the purview of the superintendent. If you wanted to have that kind of power, then you should have applied when we were looking for one.
We have power over the purse strings.
Yep.
Thank you. But I want to reiterate what Peter is saying. I don't like to call it a contract. They have an agreement. These employees have an agreement that they will, as part of their benefit, be in those organizations. We've agreed that we would pay half the bill, all the bill for those dues and fees. part of their agreement.
Well, if, I will back off on the membership if, in fact, every single membership fee that is in that dues and fees is contractually obligated. I don't know whether it is or not. That's why, that's one of the things that it's valuable to ask. Is it?
What's your question? I don't follow you.
Is,
For instance, I'm not, Mrs. Danhe's in an HR organization. I'm not sure if that's written into her contract. I know my organizations are written into my contract, so are we going to deny Mrs. Danhe, our Director of Human Resources, to not be in a human resources organization?
I would like to know what the membership, there's a line on the budget. I want to know what it encompasses. I don't think that's an unreasonable question, whether it's actionable or not.
Is there a motion?
I don't think I need a motion. I've asked for information. I don't think it requires a motion.
I'm asking other members of the board, do they want this information? Yes or no? Mr. Collins?
I don't need the information, personally. I don't think, we're not, knowing where the dues are paid for the individuals in the SAU doesn't help us at all with this budget, in my mind. I don't know enough about their professional groups and the entities that they work with to be able to say, this is okay and this one isn't. This is worth our money and this one isn't. And as far as the comment about holding the purse strings and salaries are concerned, that's true with the superintendent, but we don't set salaries for any other employee at the SAU or in either school district. The board doesn't do that. So I'm not in favor. I think we have enough information. I agree we are stewards of the taxpayers, and I think we have been provided with plenty of information this evening on this handout to be able to do what we need to do. I think the implication was that we're not being good stewards of the taxpayers, and I think that's absolutely wrong. I think the whole purpose of this meeting, of our next meeting, and the public hearing, centering on the budget and discussion around the budget, we are fulfilling our obligation as stewards of the taxpayers. Thank you.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Mr. Collins. I think if you look at SAU 55 Policy CB, the relationship is pretty clearly established, in that we established Dr. Metzler as the CEO of the SAU and of the districts. If we're unhappy directionally with what he's doing, then that's certainly that's oversight that we absolutely provide, and that's to Dr. Hoppe's, point on the merit. If we feel like we need to do more, we need to do less, it's appropriate, whatever. Those are the kind of guidance that we provide to Dr. Metzler, and then we empower Dr. Metzler then to execute based on the guidance that we provide him. But we don't, for instance, we don't say, well, how much are you giving George Stokinger? Is that, do we like that? Do we not like that? We empower you to manage your employees as you see fit. And if we have, if we have directionally things that we're concerned about, certainly I think that's definitely under our purview. So.
Okay. Jack?
Yeah, I'd just like to say on the dues and fees, it seems as though that those are things that enhance the employees' performances, and we entrust Dr. Metzler to make those determinations, and I think if there was something not worthwhile in there, I think it already would have been taken out of that line item from a monetary standpoint. And just to reiterate what the last two gentlemen said, it really is in our purview to make those types of decisions and micromanage that at that level. So that's what we have, Dr. Metzler.
I'll be quick,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
I agree with what Jason said, Mr. Cipriano said, in that if we have an issue with something in the budget, then we should go to Dr. Metzler and say, Dr. Metzler. However, I just want to point out that how do we know if we have an issue unless we know what the information is? And I think that's kind of what she's asking, is she doesn't know if she has a problem. She might not have a problem, she just doesn't understand it because she doesn't have enough information. And I don't know how somebody can go to Dr. Metzler and say, what Jason said, you know, we have an issue, when we don't know, because we don't have the information. That's all I'm saying, is I think it's an innocent, believe it, you know, she's just asking for information, that's all. That's the way I'm looking at it. Okay.
I hear you.
Okay,
And I think
that's all.
there's nothing that I've heard tonight of
Okay.
the membership examples for Dr. Metzler, Mr. Stockinger, or Ms. Danahy would suggest the otherwise.
Yeah.
So I think we've hit this one pretty hard. With that being said, I think we should move on to the superintendent's goals at this time.